fool, wake up. I wake with a start, bolting upright on the bed and looking around. It's the farmhouse. I must have fallen asleep. What time is it? I need to go feed Mabel. Madeline will scold me if I fail to feed Mabel again, and she has to do it instead. I quickly climb out of bed and rush out of my room. Mirabelle is sitting at the table and looks up with a warm smile when I enter. Madeline, standing at the sink with her back to me, turns around at the sound of my footsteps. Good morning, both of you. Good morning, Father. In one hand, she's clutching her favorite plush toy, a cow. Madeline, on the other hand, is cooking. Good morning, fool. As charming as always, I see. I sigh, and already have one hand on the doorknob when I remember with a jolt. Right, Mabel has passed on. What a shame. The milk she gave us was great. Yes, a shame. Come, sit down and have breakfast. Bacon and sausages. Perfect. How was school, Mirabelle? Mirabelle coughs a little, looking at Madeline, who is too busy making tea to notice. I pat her back gently in concern. It is good. We learned lots recently. That is good. Study hard. Don't be like your mother who could barely get past school without me. Madeline shoots me a look with a smile that says something along the lines of, "You will pay for that remark later." I gulp, averting my eyes and opting to focus on cutting up my bacon instead. My eyesight must be worsening. It seems as if the sausage keeps rolling away from me, even though I am sure I've been aiming right. However, the sound of knife and fork against the plate makes it evident that I have failed. Let me help, Father. She moves beside me and holds my hands, guiding them to the food. Thank you, Mirabelle. Though I'm not so old yet as to need you to do that. Mirabelle smiles awkwardly and Madeline sighs loudly, drawing my attention. Old fool, drink your tea before it gets cold. I wonder if I truly am an old fool. Am I missing something? Or else why do you keep calling me that? Madeline smirks before looking at me and smiling. Nope, nothing at all. Shrugging, I chew slowly on my bacon. Well, it tastes a little bit too salty today, but that suits me just fine. I'm already halfway through my bacon when I notice that Mirabelle and Madeline are just sitting there, drinking tea. Aren't you two going to eat? They shake their heads. You woke up late. We've already eaten. I nod slowly, accepting their explanation. I must have slept in. It must be a weekend today if Mirabelle is not at school, so I suppose a little more sleep than usual is justified. If it's a weekend, does that mean we should head out as a family later? Should we go to the wishing well later? Father, I don't think I want to go so far. Come on, it'll be fun. Nope, not happening. Madeline refills my cup of tea as she speaks. Why not? I'm saddened by her refusal, but I try to plead at her with my eyes. You're not at that age where you can just climb up hills whenever you want to. I fall silent. Well, maybe you're right. However, we're the same age. I point at Madeline in triumph at besting her in an argument, but something strikes me as odd. I open my mouth to try and point it out, but I can't quite verbalize my feelings. Something just feels wrong. What is it? Is her hair different today? What's wrong? Oi, Father, are you ignoring me? I turned to Mirabelle, trying to focus on her instead. No, of course not, Mirabelle. What is it? Can you tell me more stories like you did yesterday? Oh, of course. What do you want to hear? What did I even tell her yesterday? Tell me more stories about when you were young. When I was young, huh? I paused for a while, trying to think of something. Thankfully, the memories from back when I was a child are quite clear in my head. You know, your father has a knack of picking out excellent tea leaves. Next to me, Madeline is adding another cube of sugar to her new cup of tea. I open my mouth to warn her that she's already added too much sugar, but then decide against it. She has always liked things sweet anyway. So, when your mother and I were young, she always came over to play, and we had this small shed where we roasted the tea leaves. Mirabelle nods, listening to me intently while Madeline's eyes narrow, as though she's also trying to recall what I'm about to say. I look down at my teacup. There's a solitary leaf swirling on the surface, and I study it for a moment in fascination. One time, we were playing hide and seek, and she decided to hide in the roasting hut. Madeline finally nods slowly, a look of enlightenment on her face as a long sigh escaping her lips. Fool, for me to remember but not you, that is some exceptional talent. I was not allowed to enter that place, so I never thought to look for her there. Then when it took too long to find her, I had to go to her parents too, admitting that I've lost her. Everyone was scared, thinking Madeline got kidnapped or got into an accident. But guess where she was? Sleeping in the huge pile of leaves like a baby. You know, the tea leaves are fragrant, and when you are young, you tend to sleep a lot. I don't. You don't. I have to think for a moment before answering something as simple as this. I must be getting old. Old. I look at Madeline. Something seems off about that word and about her in particular, but I am still not quite sure what it is yet. As I struggle to make sense of it, Madeline raises a teapot, silently asking me if I want to top up my tea. I nod in gratitude, lowering my cup so that she can pour more tea for me. Mirabelle, on the other hand, is eating a sliced sugar and buttered bread happily. She must have gotten it from the pantry without my noticing. She's nibbling on it like a little rabbit, slowly enjoying its carrot. I smile in amusement. Oh, you know, sugar used to be pretty expensive around here, so whenever we made these bread buns for you, they were a very special treat. Of course, things are different now that Emperor Horst Memoria is in charge. The new emperor comes from the town of Memoria and thus has devoted a lot of effort to revitalizing this sleepy town. Madeline shakes her head. It is now Emperor Julius Memoria. Horst passed away 6 years ago. Oh, I seem to be bringing up old things a lot then. I frown and tap at the side of my head a little as a wordless explanation. Madeline smiles understandingly. Why don't you tell Mirabelle about the day of our wedding? I scratch my head for a moment, trying to sort through the murky memories in my head when a light bulb lights up above my head. A dim light bulb, but a light bulb nonetheless. Are you referring to the time when you panicked about the wedding? Mirabelle shoots Madeline a curious look. A look one that clearly says, why haven't you told me about this before? And why am I only hearing about this now? There was a tradition, you see, in our village. On the wedding day, the bride will be hidden away by her family. The groom then has to find the bride and bring her to the altar to complete the ceremony. I smiled, scratching my head again at the sudden blankness in my mind. what happened next? Oh, right. The memory comes back to me easily. So, Madeline's family hid her in a really simple place. Just behind the house, actually. Madeline shakes her head, already embarrassed about what is to come. Your mother was so worried that I couldn't find her, even though her parents had reassured her so many times. I actually went out to look for them, and we ended up going around in a circle for hours, just missing each other. She thought I would be at the, I can't remember. The town's tavern. I thought I would hide there first instead of going for the most obvious location. I did. Madeline looks at me and sighs a little before nodding. Yes, you did. I guess I did. I reply uncertainly, feeling suddenly uncomfortable. Why can't I remember anything? I bite my lips. My mind has suddenly gone blank. Father, are you alright? I blink a few times, trying to clear the haze from my mind, and smile at Mirabelle reassuringly. I give her a gentle pat on the head. I am okay. Aren't you hot in this costume, though? Mirabelle smiles and squeezes my hand, shaking her head. You made this for me, remember? There's such a genuine, happy smile on Mirabelle's face, and my heart clenches for a second, warmth spreading across my chest. However, I once again struggle to recall this. Madeline, I'm sorry, but can you finish my story? I can't seem to. In annoyance, I smack my hand against my head. Madeline reaches out to hold my hand, still stopping me. Hey. Madeline shifts her chair closer beside me. Everything's okay. I hesitate, smiling a little at her reassurance. So, should I continue the story for you? Please do, Madeline. How about a story about the two of you giving me this costume later? I turn to smile at Mirabelle, pulling her into a hug. Of course, there isn't anything planned today. We can tell all the stories we want for today. How about you finish the story first, Madeline? Madeline's lips curve upwards. Of course I can, old fool. You, being the fool you are, went about the places I would obviously not be at. I mean, why would you go to the fishery to find a bride? I suppose I am rather silly then. Our laughter echoes in the room. Moments like these. It is for moments like these that I have lived and worked hard for my family my entire life. I may one day forget everything, but I know in my heart that I will never lose the feelings I have for them. Then we finally ran into one another, sweating and panting from all the trips around the village we made. Everyone was just laughing at us. It sounds like great fun. If only I can remember it. Madeline must be right. I must have been a silly oaf back then. I sincerely thought that I would have done something smart and whatnot. I bet my father said something cheeky. Indeed he did. He said that we probably would not be getting a child that day, seeing how tired we are. Your grandmother was positively furious at how silly your father was. She was always the stricter one. In fact, in a manner of speaking, you do resemble my mother. Oh, you do resemble my mother. But father was always stricter to Mirabelle. Yeah, grandfather was always strict. Grandmother always pampered me. And you know, it was actually grandmother who told you to make me this costume. Do you remember that, father? I scratch my chin, a faint memory fluttering at the back of my mind. Wait, I think I remember. Was it for the costume festival? Yeah, you remember. It was really just a good guess, but she seems so happy that I can remember that I don't have the heart to tell her so. Madeline stands up and walks over to the pot to refill it before coming back to sit beside me. An earnest audience. Well, in our family, as long as there's someone listening, the story will always be told. Everyone had a costume and I didn't. Grandmother then told you to make me one, but you didn't know what to make. Then how did I came in eating a tomato. Did he seriously make a costume based off of what you were eating? He told me that he made it because he felt that it was unique and that no one else would make something like that. Well, Mother, I think he is right in saying that, but I am sure he made it after he saw me eating it. There was this expression on his face. Since when did Mirabelle start to speak in such a mature manner? I suppose it is good that she has matured. Still, part of me would like her to stay an innocent little girl who thinks that being part of the ruling imperial family is possible. Do you remember how it was when he realized that you had made him a woolen sweater for winter? It was the same expression. It must be my "this is it, I got it" expression. I smile why can I never say that word? I smile sheepishly, even though I still can't remember what Mirabelle is describing. This foolish man. Then, because I need a prop, you made me this cow toy. Oh, modeled after Maybelle too. Oh, I knew it. She holds up the toy proudly and I smile. However, as happy as these memories and thoughts make me, for some reason, they tire me out as well. I'm already yawning. Just like that, even though I have only been up for at most 3 hours. I try to hold back my yawn to no avail. You should go and rest, love. I try to protest, but she gives me a stern look. Caving immediately, I nod in agreement. She helps me up, and Mirabelle rushes over to grab my other hand to support me. As we begin to make our way to my room, there is a loud knock on the door. Mirabelle looks at Madeline in silence. The two look at one another for a long moment, then Madeline's head swivels towards the door. I should get that. I think it is just a traveling peddler, dear. Go and rest. I will handle it. That's fine, Madeline. I can handle something like this. I walk over to the door and open it. Outside the house stands an old man. He looks familiar. Extremely familiar. Oh, Renard. It has been a while since I last saw you. We were getting worried, so I came to check up on you. You should at least come to Aunt's new restaurant. All of us have been waiting for some time to sit down and have a good meal with you. What happened to Parfait Fridays? Parfait Fridays. Wait. I know what this man just said should mean something to me. My brows pull together as I concentrate. It takes my brain a few moments to process his words, but it finally comes to me. You are Deputy Mayor Henderson. The man in front of me is second in command in Memoria, and a good friend as well. Where's Madeline? My, I'm no longer the farmer I used to be. Just walking here makes my back ache. He enters the house. I turn around to see Madeline and Mirabelle holding one another, looking visibly nervous. I shake my head in confusion. Why is he asking where Madeline is? She is right there. You don't see Madeline? My old friend gives me a strange look, as though I have gone senile. My, she doesn't seem to be here either. Where did she go, Renard? I gulp and turn to stare at Madeline and Mirabelle, who are hanging their heads in shame. Who are hanging their hands in shame? Somehow, all of a sudden, everything seems bright and clear to me now. It's as though the events of the past few days is speeding through my mind, and for a brief moment, countless number of emotions swell up within me. Happiness at the obvious thing that is what... Wait. Happiness at the obvious thing that is happening. How can I be so foolish as to not even notice this? Sadness at my wife's passing. However, I throw my head back and give a joyous laugh, smiling and nodding at Madeline and Mirabelle before turning back to Henderson. It's nothing. Let me make you some tea for coming all the way over here. Madeline said she had a trip to make, but she will be back soon. Thank you. That would be much appreciated. I sit down with Henderson and talk to him for a while. It doesn't take long to convince him that Madeline is currently on a long trip to the neighboring town. He sits in the chair where Madeline was sitting just a moment ago, finishing the tea and eating the sugared bread that Mirabelle was eating earlier. The chair has indeed moved. I am not insane. They really are here with me. Henderson tells me about how he has sold parts of his land to a couple from the city, a retired healer and a merchant, but I am barely listening. He also tells me about how adorable they are and how they remind him of Madeline and I. He eventually gets up to leave after the second cup of tea, perhaps sensing that I am not in the mood for aimless chatting. Before he leaves, I bow my head in farewell, causing him to look at me in surprise at the formal gesture before returning it. When I turn around after closing the door, I see Madeline and Mirabelle standing in front of me. Sorry, Father. We didn't mean to. It was my idea. My brilliant idea. Please. I raise my hand to stop them from speaking any further. I want to cry, but I cannot find the energy for it. For once in a long time, my mind is clear, as though a ray of light is passing through the clouds, gathering in my head and dispersing them for the time being. I sweep Madeline up in a tight hug. Can you two, who have walked through the gates of heaven, tell me something then? What is it? There are tears in Madeline's eyes as Mirabelle clings to my clothes, sniffling. From what I have observed and learned from my parents' final days, I assume that my time to take that final step through the heavenly gates is just around the corner. So, can you tell me? Mirabelle will tell you anything she can, Father. I get down on one knee, embracing her before releasing her and looking into her eyes. Then tell me, will I find the two of you beyond that gate in heaven? Mirabelle's face finally crumbles. She starts sniffling before breaking into tears and sobbing, nodding wildly. Yes, we will be there. Madeline kneels down beside us and wrap her arms around the both of us. I soak in her warmth, treasuring the feeling of her embrace that I once thought I'd never feel again. It is not just us waiting for you, you know? Mother, Father, and your parents are there too. I see. Instead of feeling sad at the impending end, I break into a smile. It is the widest smile I have given in a long time. I see. Looks like this old man has nothing to worry about at all. Now, do you think I can go and rest? Madeline tugs Mirabelle away from me gently, and I let go reluctantly. There's a moment of silence as we look at one another. I take the opportunity to drink in their faces, trying to take in every detail and commit them to memory. Mirabelle gives me a soft smile, one that is clearly wise beyond her years, and I choke back a sob at the thought of having to let my daughter go once again after just barely being reunited with her. I comfort myself with the fact that I will see them again soon, and I will be with my family once more. There's a gradual glow of white around them, waiting for you. A blinding light emanates from them, and I have to squeeze my eyes shut, turning away. When I look back at the spot where they stood just a moment ago, they are no longer there. Thankfully, they did not take my clear-mindedness along with them. I remembered precisely what I was planning to do. Before Henderson interrupted us, I was going to take a nap. I move over to my armchair that is kept cozy and warm by the fire that Madeline had lit earlier. I lean against the cushions and sign contentment. The crackling of the fireplace is all that there is left in my ears. Soon, even that sound fades. Darkness and silence surround me, but I feel no fear, only a mild sense of anticipation and a rush of relief. I peer into the darkness, waiting. Eventually, my eyes can make out a figure in the distance. No, 2 figures. They're beckoning to me, and I break into a sprint, more agile and energetic than I have been in years. Dad, what are you waiting for? You're no longer old, but you're still a fool. Wait for me. I chase after them, laughing. For a long time, all 3 of us laugh. Oh. That was both so incredibly sad and sweet. It honestly was very touching. Well, you guys, that was forgotten, not lost. I'll be honest, I'm kind of at a loss of words. Just, that story was honestly so powerful and so moving and so touching, and it touched me in so many ways that I didn't fully expect. I mean, when I read it, like the description for it, I knew that it would have some kind of impact and like it would be touching to some degree, but wow, I went through a roller coaster of emotions. I hope you guys really enjoyed that too, because I sure know I did. I know there's other games similar to this, which I do plan on playing hopefully in the near future. Overall though, I quite enjoyed the music, the artwork, and especially the story. I think they portrayed like the theme of dementia so well, and it was so incredibly touching. I know I've said that so many times, but just wow. Well, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I know I did, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in another video. Goodbye.